Hello, folks, and welcome back to Ask an Expert. I'm David Jameson, president of the Aiken Chamber of Commerce, and as we do each time, I identify the date, and it's April the 29th, 2020. Things are just changing so fast, I think the date is very important. Our guest today is Sharon Rodgers, and Sharon's the president of the United Way of Aiken County. Sharon, welcome.
Good morning, David. It's so good to see you.
So, in your role, Sharon, what I thought folks would find interesting is I know that you work with 30 community-based partners, all providing social service needs in different ways in Aiken County. And I would presume that you have a kind of a lay of the land of what current conditions are and what current needs are. Would you like to talk about that some?
Absolutely. This pandemic has obviously caused a lot of pressure on our community. It has really pressured the most vulnerable of our citizens. It became apparent early on that we needed to make sure that the resources, the nonprofit programs, particularly in basic needs, food insecurity, shelter, medical care, all of those things continued so that not only the folks that we usually provide services to, but the folks that just all of a sudden found themselves needing services. The last 2 weeks of March, calls to our 211 line rose by over 55%. A lot of those folks have never before had to seek social services before. They were used to having to navigate the system, and we have focused our attention on providing support for our partner agencies, particularly those, as I said, providing these basic needs. Early on, the governor declared a state of emergency. He closed some businesses, and it affected resale stores, and a lot of the funding for some of our agencies came from resale stores. So we quickly started a COVID-19 relief fund. I'm very happy to say that we've almost got $100,000 contributed to that fund. Those funds will go to help supporting our partner agency in the areas of these basic needs. A shout out to the Duchessois family for contributing recently $25,000 to the fund. 1SC Fund is contributing $50,000. Just so many, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all of these folks have stepped up and are helping. So many countless people are helping support our nonprofit community. A lot of events had to cancel. You know, these events help support our nonprofit community. And so it's very important right now that we continue to provide resources so that food and shelter and medical care can continue for children and seniors and disabled and people that are just out of work. One thing that we have learned is there's no non-essential jobs. There are jobs that have been labeled as non-essential, but everybody's contribution to our community is essential. And if they're not given that opportunity to do what they normally do, then they quickly become victims of this virus, whether they have gotten the virus or not. So we're trying our best to make sure that we are here for our community. Our nonprofit community did not fold the tent and go home. Our nonprofit community is here. We are working every single day to the best of our ability within social distancing and CDC guidelines to make sure that our community receives services.
I've watched the nonprofit community for the last 14 years since I moved back to Aiken. And what I see is is a tremendous amount of passion from the people that work at the nonprofit organizations, and so many of them are operating on a shoestring. They have faith that the money's going to come, and they know that the need is there and the delivery is there. And so I'm always so impressed with the stories I hear from the nonprofit organizations. You mentioned the COVID-19 Relief Fund. How can someone donate to that? Give us an address or something that they can mail a check to.
You can mail a check to the United Way of Aiken County, P.O. Box 699, Aiken, South Carolina 29802, or you can simply go to our website, uwaiken.org, and hit the donate button. All of the funds that are coming in through our website right now are all going right to that fund. There are no administrative fees. Nothing comes out of that. It goes directly to providing support for basic need programs. And we hope people will, as they always are, just be generous. If you've got a job, we always say, if you've got a job and a home to go to and food on your table, you are so very blessed. And you never know when you're going to need these services, and that is really, unfortunately, becoming the reality that we have seen over the last 4 to 6 weeks. It's all of a sudden folks that never thought they would ever need social services programs are needing them. And one thing I want people to know is that not only can you donate, if you need services, pick up the phone and dial 211. That's all you need to do. That line is manned. You will get a person that cares about you, that will try to find a program that will help you. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It does not close.
So Sharon, what kind of information does the 211 line have? I don't think a lot of people are familiar with what they can ask on the 211 call.
Everything is kept confidential, David. They will ask for some information just because we're trying to keep up with demographics of people calling in, and we want to be able to follow up with these folks to make sure that they did actually get the services that they were asking for. But it's a confidential call, and it is a database of not only United Way, even though it is a United Way program, the database contains information from all over the state. A lot of people don't realize that our Aiken County helpline is the 211 call center for the entire state of South Carolina. So it's not just taking calls from Aiken County, which they do a very good job with. They are taking calls for all of South Carolina. They have a database from all of South Carolina, so that it gives us a very broad range of being able to refer people to programs from all over the state, and not just from within our community.
Yeah, I don't believe I knew that you took the calls from all over the state. That is really amazing. So I want to circle back to what you're seeing with first-time social service assistants. I know that has to be terribly painful for families. Has it been a large number of requests for first-time assistance?
It has been. I don't have the statistics from April yet. We should have them early next week, but it is a large volume. There's a lot of folks that lost their jobs. They were furloughed. You've got your fast food, your restaurant workers, your retail workers. So many folks that that were laid off because of businesses closing early on, that became victims of this crisis and had nowhere else to go. These are the people that are lined up in the Golden Harvest food lines for the mobile markets. These are the people that are in the food lines over at the soup kitchen. every day. These are the people that are, you know, that they're starting to get unemployment and things, but it just takes a while to gear up for this. So thank goodness the nonprofit community was able to come in and fill some of the gaps for these people. And luckily there was a moratorium on turning off utilities and evicting people and foreclosing on people. That did help a lot. But eventually that moratorium will be lifted and all those bills are going to come due. And so that's another reason why this COVID relief fund is so important, so that we can help provide relief for some of these families that are going to be kind of overwhelmed with bills and things as we try to get back to normal in our state and our community.
Well, it's certainly, the relief fund is certainly a short-term lifeline for a lot of people, and I'm so glad that's created and that the funding has come in very well for that. I'm sure that the need is great, and that there are folks listening to this podcast today that can write a check and help with this fund. That would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
So Sharon, I've enjoyed talking with you today. You are clearly an expert, and it's even more clear in my mind why you were named the AikenChamber Woman of the Year back in January.
That still doesn't seem real, David.
Well, it is real, and you deserve every bit of it.
Recognition for our nonprofit community was greatly appreciated, so we thank the Chamber for that, and we thank the community for its support of all the nonprofits. I want to give a shout out to all the businesses out there that are continuing to run, and all the businesses hopefully that'll be starting up soon. We love our community. We are rooting for our community, and we know that united that we will win together. So thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you, Sharon. And this concludes this segment of Ask an Expert. We'll be talking to you soon on a different subject.